What is going on, people? You know that sound. It is the Unfiltered Band. That means, yes, another episode of Unfiltered coming your way right here, right now. This will officially go down as episode number 299 in your scorecards. You could jump on board 24/7, 365 onto the Unfiltered Revolution. It is easy. Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. You can go to the artist formerly known as Twitter, X if you will, at Casey Stern. Hop up to the tippy top end of the bio. Get over to the YouTube channel. Get over to Instagram. In both cases, Unfiltered with Casey Stern. It is good to have you, and thank you to the Unfiltered Band and to you wherever you may be watching or listening. Been a few days. Good to be back with you and a lot to chat about. We will get into a lot of baseball in this podcast today and try and hit and bounce around the league, hit a number of topics. If you have topics that you'd like to hit, I want to hear from you. It is easy. Get to me, Twitter or X. You can follow me on the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Please like all the videos, but you also can make comments and give me your thoughts on things that you want to hear me discuss or guests you'd like me to have in the coming days and weeks and months as we are approaching episode number 300. So a lot of baseball today. I am going to begin with some basketball. I'll even touch on a little hockey at the end because I got a self-serve on the Islanders whose logo you could see if you're watching. And I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and I am elated and glowing and gleaming and all those things and man-crushing on Jalen Brunson. We'll get into all of that. But first, as always, BetOnline, your number one source for all your sports betting needs. The latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, basketball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to get your wagers. Live casino and card games, they're all available right now from your phone. So get over to the website or your mobile device, sign up today, get in on all the action, and remember to use the promo code BELIEVE. It's BLEAV. You'll get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It is BetOnline, where the game starts as I get started here. 47 points for Jalen Brunson. Just let that sink in. Knicks one win away from knocking out Embiid and his tears and the Sixers. Jalen Brunson, a guy who should have been more of a viable than many MVP candidate, used to have a vote for that. I don't anymore. I cannot help, but I would have helped and at least told you he should be in the top handful for sure of candidates around the National Basketball Association. The year he has had, the amount of haters, the amount of people who came out and said, and look, when he signed this deal, I thought a little bit of an overpay, but an overpay you had to make. You go back to previous episodes of this podcast, and I said an overpay, but an overpay you got to make. And a guy who clearly was going to be that New York guy, that mentality reminded me a lot of the Mark Jackson mentality that this team has been missing in terms of running the point for many, many years. No offense to Charlie Ward and everybody else in between. But he has exceeded. He has just expelled all notions that he was not going to be a star, that he's too small, that he can't be a 1-1, that he can't be that number one option on a winning team. What he did in this game and has done all season, but in this game specifically, in Game 4 of this series, in hostile territory, in one of the louder environments in the league, with those MVP chants, how sweet those were from Knicks fans. 47 points. Just absolute insanity. And deserves all the accolades and all the credit you could possibly shower onto this dude. No matter how far they make it into the postseason, he has answered all questions. He has become the face of a franchise that is right now in the best state that it has been in since 1999. Remember, party like it's 1999? Right now, if you're a Knicks fan, you are partying like it is 1999. And by the way, and I'm old, that's a long time ago. Do the math, 25 freaking years ago. What a stud. And love as well, by the way, for OG, for Josh Hart. 0 for 7 from the field, but 15 plus rebounds, 3 blocks, all the hustle plays, that block late in the game in the fourth quarter on that closeout on 3. I mean, the Knick mentality and the toughness in the 90s is back. It's back. Dante, back. Hart, back. Brunson, back. OG, it's back. Achua, it's back. Tibbs, it is back. And the Knicks are back. Do I think they're going to win the championship? No. I hope they do. They don't even have you, mind you, Julius Randle, although seemingly, well, a different team. They may be even better without him, which is a different problem moving forward. But they are back. And they are a force to be reckoned with. They are mentally tough. They're going to be tough to beat in their own building, which is clearly a big thing in the playoffs. Get wins on the road, going to be difficult to do against this basketball team, and give them the credit, give them the love, get fired up. And Jalen Brunson, you are a dude. Hello, 47 points. 47. Just a little note before I get to the baseball. We're going to do a lot of baseball here. And welcome back to Unfiltered episode 299. Appreciate you being with us. Apple, Spotify, everywhere get your podcast. Please like, subscribe. Do the same thing if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're not there, do yourself a favor. Pause this right now. Go to your phone, wherever you are. Add Unfiltered with Casey Stern. Give it a like, subscribe. Get all the videos, all the content. Now almost 300 episodes in. All sorts of guests, including, as of recent, likes of Rex Chapman and Eric Hosmer and Ariel Helwani and Mark Feinsand and Jim Duquette, and the list goes on and on and on. The Dusty Bakers and Todd Fraziers and Matt Hollidays and many, many more. Note about my Islanders. Feel bad for Ilya Sorokin. He will figure it out. It's a long-term contract. Feel good for this team that they were able to fight through and win that game in double OT yesterday. As I sat there watching that, just hoping that they would survive, and survive is what they did. Thankful for Barzal stepping up, Matty and Barzy with the 2 goals, one early to tie it at 1, and then the goal off the deflection. How about Kyle McLean and how well he has played? And look, Patrick Waugh moving forward, this roster needs changes. This roster is not perfect, but give the Islanders credit. I will do way deeper dive in this when their season officially ends, which likely will be in Game 5, but let's hope it's not. Either way, we will do that in a different pod. Let's talk some baseball. What have we learned? I'm going to do a lot of these this week on kind of what are we learning in April. First month of a baseball season, people covering the sport over 20 years, you learn a lot. You can't win it in April, but you can lose it in April, right? You also can lose your mind in April, right? If you're a baseball fan, you know all about that. And I'm not just talking about if you're a fan of the Chicago White Sox or the Miami Marlins or the way the Houston Astros have played in this year. It is every year. It is every team. It is every time you can lose your mind. It's the heebie-jeebies, and you got them. It is like you're in a toxic relationship with your baseball team in April every year, and I get it, and I feel it, and I've been there, and I'm there now with these Metropolitans myself. By the way, thank you, Mark Vientos. Game over 500 as we sit here, and I do this on a Sunday, the 28th. And by the way, happy belated to my daughter Hannah, who turned 7 yesterday. My son Lucas will turn 10 on Tuesday. Blessings in my life. Not to say that Haley is not. She will also have a birthday on May 17th, but we'll save that for that. But I understand the toxic nature of the relationship with the team that you root for in this sport, because I love this sport, and I've loved this sport since I was 5 years old. So I get it. I get it. But what do we learn? The first thing we need to learn is patience. I mean, even the Yankees sit there, win today, back in first place. They're 19-10 in the American League East. You got people freaking out about the Yankees after the great start and not realizing when you look as a whole, 19-10, first place, no Garrett Cole, no problem yet. The performances that they've been able to get out of the Nestors and the Stromans and the rest of that rotation, the way that Soto has played, and the fact that they've done it not only without Garrett Cole, but they've done it with this version of Aaron Judge, who, by the way, there's nothing wrong with. And I'm not saying that because he homered today. I'm saying that because this is what happens every year to certain players. It is a long baseball season. Okay? You can have a game, you throw 4 picks in the NFL, and all of a sudden you sit there 16 weeks, things are good. But then how many baseball games is that? You go ahead and do the math and dissect it. In April, not too many NFL weeks. You can have a couple of bad games in baseball, but they can't be at the beginning and they can't be at the end, because that's when we notice. If you're doing your fantasy football drafts or you're out there for Labor Day weekend, you're bringing the kids out to Long Beach Island or wherever. I don't know why I shouted that out randomly, but wherever. And that's where you're going. And by the way, God bless you, great place. But wherever you are, right? I mean, you're unless you're in that mode where you're sitting there and you're really honing in, that's beginning of the season, trade deadline, end of the season, we forget. But there's nothing wrong with Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge is healthy, there's nothing wrong with Aaron Judge. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with Aaron Judge. He will be fine. Yankee fans booing him is stupid. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not getting angry today about anything. And I'm not getting angry about that. Well, maybe not. I got to get to umpiring later. So maybe one thing. But outside of that, it's like you cannot sit there and not understand that you look at the back of a baseball card, you see a year. Now, you can go in and delve into months. You got lots of players that have had bad Aprils. You got lots of players that have been second half players, have bad starts over first half of seasons. It doesn't matter. As Aaron Judge pointed out yesterday, Saturday now at this point, if you want to go read, make quotes about it, you have to get in booed. He's like, he had bad Aprils before. He's not afraid. If he's not afraid, I'm not afraid. You know, if I could change, you could change. We all could change. Aaron Judge doesn't need to change. He will be fine. Judge and jury are out, and they already been in and booked on Aaron Judge. He is fine. And the Yankees are in first place, 19-10. We've learned about the Yankees. We learned Jackson Holliday not ready yet. Orioles sitting okay at 17-10, certainly in a good place, but Jackson Holliday only a couple singles, 2 walks and 36 appearances, and 0.59 batting average. That's not good, and people are going to freak out about that. And guess what? This is a good lesson for a 20-year-old kid. He is 20 years old. He got all the talent in the world, and for a lot of guys, when they come up, it doesn't happen automatically. Mention Aaron Judge. Now, for him, it happened automatically, and people forget, a year and a half in, he couldn't get a hit for seemingly 4 or 5 months, and people thought he was done then, and that was before everything. Jackson Holliday will be fine. He's going to be okay, but maybe not ready just yet. Hoping to get Matty on the show, a longtime friend, obviously his dad, at some point here, he's been on this pod, I think at least 3-4 times. But I want to have him on again. I want to talk to him about what happened here. Jackson will be fine. Don't worry about that. Orioles got loads of talent. They got talent for days and months and years, and they're going to be fine. How about the Red Sox? Can we give them some credit? Did anybody think that Boston, after everybody, including, by the way, me being part of that, everybody, this dope right here, making fun of the Netflix and what the hell are they going to do on this show? What a disgrace. And who cares about a documentary about this terrible team and all of that? And, they're not great, but for them to be 15 games, in the win column of 13, the loss column at this point in April, after what we thought for them to pitched at times, the way in stretches, especially the first couple weeks to open the season, you're getting more in that division. I mean, come on. They're right in the thick of things. If you're a Red Sox fan, you got to be elated. And by the way, a lot of that has to do with your manager, AC Alex Cora, who, by the way, could be gone at the end of the year. Hello. But you got to be impressed. And that's, by the way, only an inkling of a lot of teams that have impressed and been better than we thought. Now, I don't know how bad we thought the White Sox would be, but they're as bad can be. And, by the way, how Tommy Pham was sitting out there forever, I don't know, but he's done a nice job with them, gotten 3 wins in a row. They're back on the horse. They started 3-22, and 6-22 looks better than that. There's 77 runs in a hole, negative 77 run differential, which is nuts to have at any point in the season, let alone only 28 games in. But kudos to the players inside that room. If not for, obviously, Grifol as well, but and the coaching staff, who certainly has a lot of sleepless nights. But kudos to them winning 3 in a row and trying to finish out April on a high after what was a terrible start. But you know what we learned in the AL Central? You know what we learned in the NL Central? That certain teams who have that culture, it's not about one person anymore. It's built and it is ingrained. And it may come from certain people. In Cleveland, it may come from Terry Francona and from Chris Antonetti, who is still there. And from the Brewers, it may come from David Stearns, who's now in New York. It may come from Craig Counsell, who's now in Chicago, but it is still there. Because to sit there and have the Cleveland Guardians at 19-9 in first place in the AL Central, and have the Brewers tied for first in the NL Central at 17-10. Do the math. The combined 36-19 did that on the fly. Hello, must be episode 299. Give a lot of credit to what these teams have built. And it doesn't mean that they don't know what's on their trail. Detroit, Kansas City, how about the way Bobby Witt Jr. is playing? The Cubs and Imanaga, whose start has been Cy Young-like and brilliant. They know what's coming. But they are saying, we're not going away quietly into the night, as they said, an Independence Day, right? They're not going to disappear. If you're a fan of these two teams, I want to hear from you, because you got to be jacked up, because everybody was saying, it's over now. Yeah, Murphy, vote. Okay, these are good picks. And all right, yeah, it's fine. And, it's still got some nice pieces, but neither of these teams really could hit enough. Shane Bieber went down. Did I mention Shane Bieber went down? Does it ever matter? Now, when Terry Francona, when Tito was there, we used to say that. Well, it never seems to matter who he loses. Oh, Lindor's gone. The year Brantley was hurt and just cheering on the sideline. They're in the World Series. Might never seem to matter. But Tito's there. Well, he's not there anymore. That culture, though, is still there. Credit where it is due, Cleveland. Credit where it is due in Milwaukee. The Houston Astros. Framber Valdez back today and pitched well off the IL, and that's important. They're now up at 8-19, even though things have been terrible. They're 4-9 at home, which is bad. They're 4-16 against teams over 500, which is bad. But playing Colorado sometimes is good and sometimes helpful. And they're at least seeming to end the month in a better start. And I said this, and I happen to be, and go check out my spot on Believe in Astros with Jeff Balke and my guy Mike Stanton. But I was saying this to them about the team when they were 7-16 just a few days ago. And go check out that pod episode. But the Astros are used to winning all the time. The person you feel for most is not Alex Bregman, who hadn't had a home run yet, and Altuve, who's been there and done that before, and these guys who have won and now going through losing for the first time, other than Altuve, who did that at the beginning of his tenure with the Astros. It's not about that. It's about Joe Escobar, who coming in as a new manager, and how the hell are you supposed to navigate this situation as a new manager? It is not easy. No, it is not. But they are not done. They got a hill to climb, 7 games out of the division, right? 7.5 out of the wild card. And when you're that far back and you're this kind of a spot and you've had that kind of month, you got to kind of look at those numbers, but you got plenty of time. It is a long baseball season and you have plenty of time. You don't have forever. You're in the right time now to start kind of, hey, look, playing bad teams, that's fine. Your schedule, go ahead, beat those teams. But the Astros are not done yet. They got plenty of time to fix this thing. It would worry me more with Houston if the things that were happening to them weren't things that just seemed completely odd. I'll explain. Back into the bullpen, when it's got Abreu and Presley and Hader, and Abreu, Presley, and Hader aren't pitching well, and Presley, first 3 weeks of the season, ERA 8.3. Hader, first 3 weeks of the season was 8.5. They can't get outs. You're losing close games all the time. You're blowing leads all the time with that 7-8-9, which seemed on paper to be the best in all Major League Baseball. Then that is not a problem for me. That will right itself. That will figure itself out. Injuries are an issue, but now Valdez back, pitched well, 6 innings, look good. They're going to be okay. Now, am I saying they're the best team in that division when you got the Rangers, who were the champs, sitting there, despite only kind of being 500 so far? And by the way, credit to the A's. How they win any games, I have no idea, with all the stuff surrounding them. And kudos to those players with that us against them major league mentality. I don't know if they got mannequins up in the clubhouse or what, but 12-17, credit to them. I don't know if the Astros are winning this division, but give them the respect if you can't give them the love. If you can't give them the love at 8-19, give them the respect for what they got in that room, the 7 years in a row in the LCS, and the players that are still there, and give them some time. It takes time. Speaking of the Astros, my guy Dusty, congrats on winning Baseball Digest Lifetime Achievement Award. 56 years in the game as a player, coach, and a manager. Dusty, one of the nicest human beings that I've ever met. Forget about working in this game. It was an honor to work next to him, and even more so to call him a friend. He is an unbelievable person. And that is something I do not say often and do not overthrow out. I mean, literally as genuine and sincere a human being as you could possibly imagine. And he's that dude. So kudos to Dusty and credit to him, and congratulations on a big-time honor, Baseball Digest Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't know if it's lifetime achievement, but the way the Braves have built their team, they may be achieving seemingly forever. So it's not a surprise to see them up at 19-7. It's not a surprise to see them looking like the best team in baseball. And even with the Dodgers, who we know are going to be really good this season, and we know the talent they have, I said this out of the gates, it was not going to be a surprise if the Braves were as good or better than the Los Angeles Dodgers, because the Braves have talent seemingly forever. And even without Spencer Strider, how about these teams that Garrett Cole gone, Yankees first place. Shane Bieber gone, Guardians first place. Strider gone, Braves first place. Now, will these three teams all be affected by these players not being there and these pitchers? Absolutely. And we've talked pitcher injuries. Absolutely. Yankees need Garrett Cole back in some way. Guardians don't know if they could do this throughout the sustained course of a season without that guy at the front end. And the Braves probably going to need to do what Alex Anthopoulos does, use his stealth nature, wave his wand, and add somebody else in July. And we know they can do that. And they certainly got the system to go get it and do it and get it done. But how about, again, no Garrett Cole, Yankees first place. No Shane Bieber, Guardians first place. No Spencer Strider, Braves first place. You know who's in last place? Not the Astros. Not the Marlins. It's not the White Sox. It's the damn umpires. The umpires are in the lastest place. They're in the worst place. They're in a place where Max Scherzer wants him relegated, and he's not wrong. Because while that may not happen, where he is correct, and I've said this for years, is there is zero accountability. Zero on these umpires. You want to say Angel Hernandez, the lawsuit? Laz Diaz have a lawsuit? Don't know about that one. How many other guys? Wendelstadt, when he made the just asinine call with the Booney thing, where Aaron Boone didn't even say anything, and Wendelstadt basically gets undressed by the video that shows just how stupid this whole thing is, and he ejects him, where we've got, no robot umpires, but we got umpires making mistakes left and right that we can't challenge balls and strikes, even if it's costing innings, costing games. And sometimes games cost seasons. Yeah, it could be one stupid call on April 19th. When you miss out on a wild card by half a game, you can go back to that, fair or not. These umpires have no accountability whatsoever. I don't give a crap that a pool reporter can sit there and get your answers, because that's not enough for me. If you can't get on base and you bat 170 and you can't play defense, you shouldn't play in the league. And if you have those stats as an umpire, you shouldn't umpire in the league either. And Angel Hernandez has been having those stats for seemingly the back of his baseball card for a decade or more, and it has not mattered at all. Zero accountability. The umpires are in last place. This is hopefully the first place you come talk some baseball, at least one of them, and other sports. We hit all those other things as well. Unfiltered will continue, episode 300 coming up, guests this week, and more. You can get to us a number of ways. Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. If you're there already, go to the YouTube channel now, add Unfiltered with Casey Stern, subscribe, go watch all the videos and the content, and there's exclusive stuff there. Also on Instagram, where we're kind of new, like Tom on MySpace being the only friend. I think got 137 at this point, but we only been on there in a few days. So tell your friends and get on there, Unfiltered with Casey Stern. And of course, where most of you are following, and that is on Twitter or X at Casey Stern. Please give likes to the videos. Let us know how you feel. Give me your comments along the way. Biggest comment of all. And that is, sports are a great thing. They are a great thing because they're an escape for all of us. No matter what is going on in your life, whether it's good or bad, whether it's unexpected in the good or unexpected in the bad, they're always there for you. They're there to drive you nuts. They're there to drive down your patience and drive up your passion. And it is a great thing that we get to share discussing that all. So much love to all of you. We'll see you next time on Unfiltered, presented by our good friends at BetOnline.